In this section, we are going to be paying or recording the payment of all of our withholdings taxes. Now, in section 13-4, we learn about how frequently a company has to pay their taxes based on how much business they do. Now, for this activity, we are told how often they have to make these payments. So our instructions on page 389 tell us a cash payments journal page is given in the working papers. And the following payroll data is for digital supplies for the monthly pay period ended March 31st of the current year. And then it gives us that information. Now, credit balances on March 31st for the unemployment tax accounts for the first quarter are as follows. Unemployment tax payable federal, $511.75. Unemployment tax payable state, $3,454.34. Digital supplies pays both unemployment taxes each quarter. Prepared journal entry for payment of the withheld taxes. Digital supplies is a monthly scheduled depositor. Journalized check number 383 on cash payments journal page 14 using the date the sales tax are due to the federal government. If we are a monthly scheduled depositor, our payment is due by the 15th of the following month. Alright, so our information is given for March 31st. So that means if we have to pay by the 15th of the following month, our payment is going to take place on April 15th of the current year. Okay, so the first amount that we are given is the federal income tax withheld, which we end up having that stored in our employee income tax payable account. So we're going to put here employee income tax payable. And it tells us the balance of that account is $1,386. So we are going to debit that for the total amount, $1,386. The next number that we're given is the employee Social Security tax withheld. Now we have to remember that the Social Security tax is withheld by the employee and it is also paid by the employer. So this number we're given, $1,322.05, we're actually going to times by 2. And so that gives us $2,644.10. And that is our Social Security tax payable. And then our next one is our employee Medicare tax payable. So we're going to list Medicare tax payable. And that's another one that's paid by both the employer and the employee. So we're going to take that value, $309.25, and we're going to times that by 2. And we get $618.50. Then we're going to add all of those numbers together to come up with our one cash credit. And I come up with $4,648.60. And then we are paying that with check number 383. Okay, that's our first part of this. Then it tells us to prepare journal entries for payment of the federal and state unemployment taxes liability. Assume both checks were prepared on the due date of the federal tax deposit. Okay, and it tells us that the federal unemployment insurance, or our federal unemployment tax, is paid by the end of the month following each quarter if the liability is more than $100. And our liability is $511.75 for federal and $3,454.34 for state. So that means it has to be by the end of the month following each quarter. So if our quarter ended March 31st, that means that these are due by the end of the month of April. So we would put in April 30th. Okay, and the first one that we're going to record is our unemployment tax payable federal. So we'll put in unemployment tax payable -federal. And our liability for that, it tells us, is $511.75. And our cash credit is $511.75. And we're paying that with check number 401. Then also on the 30th, we're going to pay our state unemployment tax. So we're going to put in here unemployment tax payable state, and our liability to the state is $3,454.34. And that's what our cash credit is as well. And we're paying this with check 402. Okay, this is a little bit of a confusing section, so if you need to, as you're doing the on your own, go back through and see how we did this. We're given these numbers in the book. The thing you have to remember is the Social Security tax payable and the Medicare tax payable. We have to pay 2 times the value of those. So be really careful and make sure you take whatever that number is and times it by 2.